Hello, everybody. Remember, I promised that this was going to be a guys edition, so I'm here with the guys. I can tell me there.
Yes.
Olaoluwa.
Yes.
So, what do you do?
I am a futurist.
What's that in English?
It's basically somebody who helps people understand where the world is going. I also work in a consultancy firm and I run an arm called Power Media.
Okay, what do you guys do?
We shape organizational culture through content. What that basically means is that we create content, videos, photography, and help enhance the internal communication function of organizations.
That's very important because, in the work we've done, we found out that once communication is high, it affects all the other elements of culture. It affects trust, it affects teamwork, it affects all that and all that. Well done.
Thank you very much.
All right, Olaoluwa,
Yes,
what do you do?
I am a musician, a music producer, and an events organizer.
And you also do music.
I also do music.
And I do music.
Yes.
I think you're very fortunate people. Because, when I was younger, I used to be called Baba 70. And I jammed that keyboard, man. And if the world was where it is today, I probably would have pursued a career in acting and music production. But those days, my parents supported me. They bought me a piano, but they were supporting my hobby. I even went to the studio and, did that, but it was supporting a hobby. And nobody actually figured out that it could be the mainstream. But I'm happy with what I've done today. But the good thing is that I still produce music. And I think you guys are lucky you have a father who was deprived.
Deprived.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
When I say deprived, it's that the dream I had then,
Yes.
it could not find expression. My parents would kill me first. I remember going to Fela's shrine, and my parents could never hear. In those days, when they talk about shrine, I just pretend that I didn't know what they were talking about, and then we used to play. We played in Bamboo Corner occasionally. Then there was this band those days. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. Afro Links with Kunle Ajayi, Deji Olaopa, Wale Popola. Those guys were amazing. And then there was my friend Olusko. He commented on this page recently. Olusko, he used to sing one song. Olusko, did you ever sing any other song? The only song I ever had Olusko sing was a song called Yetunde. I don't know if he sang any other thing. Anyway, so guys, we were talking about this earlier on, and we saw the level of mental health issues amongst guys. We saw guys committing suicide and then. What's up with guys? What's up with young guys? Ola, what do you think?
I think it starts from how, in Africa we say society raises the child. So I would say how society has raised the boy child has been in a way that has shaped him to be a particular type of person, and if you deviate from that norm, they try to push you back to that norm. And what that has led is a lot of young guys don't know how to talk. They've never been in a position where they can actually talk to someone. So you have kids, perfect example, there's a song I listened to recently, and the guy, a Nigerian artist, is saying how as a kid he was told how you shouldn't be in the kitchen, you're a guy, why are you crying, you're a boy, why are you doing that? And that put him in a place where he didn't know how to talk growing up. And the only point where he was able to actually express himself was when he now started working on his music.
But tell me before I come to you, this thing is culture. Because the truth is, when I was growing up, I'm supposed to be reading all the time at home, even though I will watch television. Once I had my father's car coming in, I just run. You switch off the television and run and pretend to read. Now, unfortunately, those days we had some black and white TVs. We had one, it was a Sanyo black and white TV, that when you switch it off, For minutes after, there is one white spot in the center that doesn't go. So that's how they know you've been watching TV. But the point I'm making is, I could not talk with my father growing up. Is that why I was so messed up at this stage? I couldn't talk. My dad and I only became friends maybe in the last 10 years of his life. You know, so could it be a cultural thing? What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that?
I think that adds to it. A lot of people don't have a father around, and it can be, you know, it can come from different angles. For example, obviously, Grandpa loved you. He was not trying to. He loved you dearly.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
he
So
loved
you see,
me.
the thing is, I guess just the way he expressed love, culture has a very, very huge impact on that, and in some sense, it kind of distanced him from you guys. So he couldn't have understood what was happening. But you do realize, as the world started to change and evolve, look at how his interaction was with us as his
With you, grandchildren. And the interesting thing is that as he grew older, like I said, the last 10 years of his life, we became so close. And at that point, there was nothing we could not talk about, you know. But what I'm hearing you say is that if we can just communicate.
Yeah, I think communication is one of the major things that can really help with mental health issues with guys. There was something I was reading years ago when Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. She sent an email kind of helping people realize the fact that America cared about the whole mental health thing going on. And the person from one of the guys from the Pentagon, I think his name is something Green, whatever. What he did is that he now issued an order that people didn't have to, people could declare their mental health past issues, and it would not have any repercussions in the future. So what ended up happening is a lot of people now came out, and because they were finally able to express themselves. So you realize that community, a sense of community, does impact and help with these things. Look at people, the alcoholic, the anonymous. You see, you have a group of people who have the same problem you have. They're not judging you, and you're able to open up and speak. The moment you're not able to speak, you're bottling something in your heart. And I feel that's what eventually leads to some of the issues that we have today.
So where do parents, or maybe I look at fathers or parents generally, whichever, where do we miss it? Where don't we get it concerning raising our young men?
I think it's in trying to, again, I think live out your dreams through your child. So you have a lot of parents who maybe they wanted to be a lawyer, life didn't go a certain way, so they were a business person, but they still want their child to be a lawyer. So they're like, study hard so you can be A, B, or C. But when you're saying A, B, or C, that is your dream. And so what ends up happening is many children grow up thinking that they want something because they've heard it so many times. And then when they get to a point of self-awareness, they realize, oh my gosh, this is something that has been more or less forced on me. And then they're in a place where they don't know how to deal with that because maybe too much time has gone by, or maybe they're already, for some people, they're already in a degree course. For some people, they're already working in a particular job. So that at that point, when they see there's no escape route, then that's when the mind begins to eat itself and the situation becomes really dire.
Did you ever feel at any time, both of you, that I was imposing something on you educationally or whatever?
No, I think that's probably helped. I think one of the things that I can say, just looking at my childhood, is the fact that even something as simple as piano, you never came to us and told us, sit down, you must learn how to play this thing. We watched you, and today we can play ourselves. So I think it's the thing, setting an example. You know, we as a family, we sit down, we talk. So I think because of that openness, we're able to kind of express ourselves very, very clearly. And even if along the way we were not sure of what we were doing, or we thought we knew what we wanted, the moment we discovered otherwise, it was not complex, or there was no problem in us opening up and talking about it. You know, so I think that communication, it has to start when a child is young, because you see, the moment you wait, it becomes a bit too late, and it's a build-up. So I think that communication, honestly, it's so important that even as kids are babies, as they're growing up, that's probably one of the most important parts, because kids that don't have that, you know, you miss out on something, and by the time you start communicating years down the line, the damage is already done.
So let's look at someone who maybe has grown up, no father figure, no communication. They're in that situation that we're talking about right now. Now, there are two angles to this. So the person, there is no father figure, so there is nobody to live out, to say, be this, be that. That also creates a problem, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
In what way? And how is that different from the problem that is created from the environment where the father is saying, do this, do that?
I think in terms, it will be different for each individual, but for example, when there's no father telling you, do this, do that, you have a case where a person is fully reckless. They're able to experiment, they're able to just live their life and do whatever they want. And the truth is, as we grow older, you now see the need for the discipline you had when you were younger. So that's what gives you a lot of young people in their 20s that are purely reckless with their lives. And you can't necessarily pinpoint what the cause of their recklessness is, but when you now look deeper, you see there was never someone to tell you, don't do this. There are a lot of young kids grow up, maybe their parents were too busy. And so they don't ever actually get told no. They don't ever get reprimanded when they do something wrong. Perhaps it was only the teachers in school that got to do that. And when you're in high school, you don't really care that much for your high school punishments. So they never have had a point when they really were able to reflect on their actions. And unfortunately, what then happens is they find themselves in a position where they've put themselves in a problem. And that now ends up being the first time they actually reflect on the type of person they are, the decisions they've made. And unfortunately, many times when that happens, it's too late. The damage has already been done. Now, I think the other side was the person who the father is saying, do this, do this, do this. There you just have someone...
And the father is living out his life
yes,
through the son.
I think there you have someone who their dreams are going to be choked, and eventually they're bottling so much, in one day it's going to explode. And it'll be a tragedy if the day it explodes, it's in a way where the relationship cannot be mended. Because you have a lot of young guys who they have terrible relationships with their parents because of things the parents did years ago. And it's not like they don't want to forget these things, but the impact was just that much. And so eventually it builds up. Maybe one day the father doesn't do something you're expecting. Eventually it builds up, and it builds up in ways that really can't be determined. And unfortunately, most of the time the damage is already done by that.
But the guy who doesn't have that father or father figure and is listening to us right now, what should that guy do?
I think the question isn't really just to the person, but I'm guessing people who are hearing this, it's also directed at them. A lot of times these mental health issues, a person who is in that position does not necessarily know what is wrong with them. A lot of times you find people who are in very, very complex situations. They don't really understand the impact that's going on. You know, they don't understand what is going on.
I was there once, you know. Sorry to cut you. I was speaking in a church in London, and they gave me the microphone to speak, and I couldn't speak. I just started crying. You know? And then the preacher came and said, he said, I rebuke the spirit of rejection and abandonment. You know, and the funny thing is, I knew there was something wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. So when he now said it, I said, I'm thinking, while I'm crying, I'm thinking, so that's what it's called. Go on.
And yeah, I think everyone has a role to play in this. Everyone has a role to play, especially in this age of social media where people are able to communicate what's happening. I remember there was somebody who...
But people also get offended when they don't get a number of likes.
Yeah, these are all the things that are kind of messing up. You know, mental health has become much more complex today than it was in the past. But I think, you know, if you're in a place where you can identify what is wrong with yourself, you know, if it has not gone to, then surround yourself with positive people who kind of, you know, help you become a better person. A sense of community, yeah? Put yourself in that kind of environment where, you know, a mentor, an uncle, somebody who actually lives a life that you feel, you know what, this is something that I would like to do. Surround yourself. But for people who may not know, I think then it's really up to us, the community, to notice these things ourselves and reach out. Because I've lost a number of good friends in the last few years who were very, very good people, but they killed themselves. They killed themselves, and I'm now thinking that, I now start to reflect on maybe times when I would say, hey, how you doing? Is all well? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. They're very, very simple things that they would say, and I'm like, oh my God, maybe that was a cry for help. Maybe when they were posting certain things, that was them actually screaming, saying, guys, I need help. So I think it's not just the individual, but it's us as a community. We all have a role to play in this mental health problem.
So what I'm hearing is we need to create a safe environment where people feel confident enough
To talk about these
talk.
things.
I always wanted an environment where if my kids mess up, the first reaction is not, oh, I'm dead, I'm finished. But it should be, I need to tell dad. And that has been, what I have felt. Well, guys, today's it's a serious one. And it's both male and female, isn't it? It happens to everybody.
Yes.
I think, especially in an African context, it's very important because I have friends who will tell me when they spoke to their parents about their mental health, they were taken to church for deliverance. And imagine a young person that is going through depression, and the answer was 5 bishops are saying that demon will leave. And it puts that young person in a position where they don't ever want to open up about their situation ever again.
Yeah.
And so I think, especially we as Africans, we need to begin to relook at how do we deal with mental health? How do we address it? African parents, hopefully they're all watching this, should see, because a lot of young people, if the situation at home was better, their entire situation would be a lot better.
True.
Wow. All right, that's deep. So they take them for deliverance. And then they rebel against church, they rebel against God, they rebel against everything. And Christianity is not the replacement for communication with your family.
Exactly.
We can't replace. Okay, you guys don't tick me off now. Because, no, I'm so angry that you don't talk with your children, you don't spend time with your children, and then at the slightest sign of everything, remember that the apostle must hear this.
Exactly.
Apostle must hear this. All right, guys, keep commenting, keep talking, share this far and wide. We're going to keep this conversation going. The dream I have for this resource page is that we build a community where we can actually communicate, at least begin the process of communicating. And that's why Taiwo and I have tried to be very open on this platform with you. Somebody commented last week and said, are you guys acting? We're not acting. We just flow. So thank you so much for being with us. Let's have your comments and share. God bless. Now, join Taiwo and I, Super Homes on Nakuru TV. God bless you.